Hi everyone, it's your boy Ricky here for Honeybee Stamps. I hope you're doing well today. In today's card, we are going to be making something a little green, a little planty, remind us of spring, uh, you know, some some plants we can make food with, all that good stuff. So before we get started, to show you what we're going to be using down on the desk, just a few things. First, thank you for being here. If you love this channel and you'd like to see a bunch of artists make awesome stuff, subscribe to the channel. Secondly, thumbs up this channel once it's done if you liked it. If you did not like it, you can still thumbs up it. Like, what's the point of doing thumbs down? Don't do it. Let's see. Third, leave some comments down below. Tell me what you think about the video, about the products that I used today, all of that great stuff. And fourth, share the love. If you know someone that may like this video, then go ahead and send that off to them. Um, we would greatly appreciate it. So we're going to go down, look at the desk to see what we're going to be using today, and we're going to get started making a card. So let's take a look. All right, for today's card, we are going to be using the Lovely Layers Herb Garden set. We are going to be using the mini hexagons as well. We're going to be using the vintage Flora background stamp. We're going to be using an oldie but goodie. This is the Bitty Buzzwords Bloom die in stamp set. We're also going to be using the hexagon stacks as well. And we're also going to be using some gold foil paper, some white paper, and we're also going to be using some blending brushes from Honeybee Stamps. And then we're just going to be using a couple different greens, some grays, and a brown so that we can get all of this put together. So let me go ahead and clear the desk off and we'll get started on the first part of our card. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be doing a bunch of die cutting. I'm actually going to be die cutting all of this in white except for the tags. I decided to go ahead and just do some ink blending for all the colors. So I'm basically just going to lay out all of these different dies here onto the die cutting machine. And we're just going to die cut everything out. I was going to use some colored paper, but I've never actually done ink blending on like an entire card of just white die cuts. So I thought, what better time than now? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put all of this onto some paper and I'm going to cut these out and then I'll be back to show you how we're going to ink blend all of these different items. So I'll be right back. Hey Bromies, so just before we get started, you know, you're going to see a little something different here. Less facial hair, different shirt. That's because in the middle of this video, I had to stop and this is the next day, so don't be alarmed. It is on purpose. So we're gonna get down to the camera or down to the desk and I'm gonna show you the stuff that I cut out and we're gonna go ahead and get all that stuff ink blended. So let me go ahead and get down to the desk. All right, there we go. All right, so here we have all the things cut out. I cut it out multiple times, and there's going to be other things that we ink blend also, but there was no room on the stamp here to get this done. So what I'm going to do is the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and do these greens. I'm going to do this group and this group in the same green. So this one, I'll do these greens, and this one, I'll do these greens. These guys I have not decided. These guys are going to be in different greens. So, all right, so we'll start out with the lightest color first. And we're just going to take our little paper pouncer here. And we're just going to get everything pounced. And it's okay to leave it lighter in some areas and not the other. It's fine. What's great about these dies from Honeybee Stamps is it has texture. So it looks really cool when you use the paper pouncer because it kind of leaves the veins so you can still see that. And I think I want to do these guys this color too. And again, you make them as light, as dark as you want. There is no perfection here. So, all right, we have these guys. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with the darker pine here. And then on that, we're just going to go up here and make this one a little bit darker. So when we group these together in one little container or pot, I guess you would say, there'll be a variety in how the plants look. And I think that'll look really cool. I didn't clean my stamp off very well, you guys, so my stuff isn't sticking to it right now. But, all right. All right, that looks good. And then I think this guy we're going to do in the dark as well. And even if you wanted, you could actually do the corners here. Just pounce along the sides here to do maybe some different variation. Whoops. Make it look darker around the edges. You could do that. So really cool that you can do this. All right, so we got these guys done. Now, put these back in their little container. You guys probably hear Ivy beneath me. She's trying to get her bed all situated. And now for these are going to be basils. So we're kind of going to do a light green and a darker green. So we're just going to get the paper pouncer here and just pounce down on this. There we go. It's got like that yellowish green there. It looks super neon here on camera, but it's not as neon as it's coming across. One of these days, you guys, I'll get the lighting correct on this, but until then, this is what you get. And then we'll just do the darker one here. And then when we put those together, they will look really cool. And you know what? I'm just gonna tap some off and just add a little bit of color to this. It's coming over a little too yellow, but I think that looks good. Actually, neon green here. All right, so we have all of these guys done. I'm going to remove these, and then we are going to bring over the pails so that we can get all of this inked up. So I'm put those in order, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have the parts of the buckets. So the first thing we're going to do is we will do the wooden part of the bucket. So we're just going to take this espresso from Altenew, and we're just going to take it and just get the pieces done here. Now these sign portions will actually be covered with the label of the herb, but we'll just go ahead and get it covered up. All right, so that's the wood pieces, super simple. And then we just have the grays for the bucket. So the light gray will be for the actual bucket. So I'm just going to tap off and then just want to make it light gray. Don't want to go too dark because the other pieces will actually be darker gray. So we just kind of want to just give a little bit of color, but not too much. There we go. All right, and then the next colors are these guys, and we're just going to use the same light gray, except for we're just going to stamp them a bit darker. These are pieces of the bucket that are going to be layered on top, and they just need to be a bit darker than the actual bucket. So we're just taking the paper pouncer here and just getting that done. All right, so then the next part is the darker gray. So we are going to take that, it's charcoal, and we're going to take this one and just going to tap off lightly. There we go. And then for these pieces, these are going to be the darkest pieces. So we just want to go straight on full color here and make sure they are the darkest of dark gray. All right, so there we go. We have all the pieces ink blended and die cut. So I'm going to get this cleaned up and then we'll start on the next part of the process. Okay, so the next part of the card, we are going to do some kind of like ink blending. We are going to be using the paper pouncer here to get this covered, but I'm actually going to use a bigger one than this. Yeah, I think we'll use this one right here. This is just a bigger version of the one I was just using. And so I'm just going to use this Concord and Ninth Harbor, and we are just going to get some ink placed onto the cardstock here. Because this is super thin, kind of like wire, I just thought I would use a paper pouncer because it puts a lot of ink down. I don't have to rub back and forth so that it doesn't really mess up, you know, the pattern on the paper. There we go. That looks really pretty. All right, I'm going to clear this off and then we'll start on the next step. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to stamp this out on black cardstock with white embossing powder. So I'm going to go ahead and get this taken up here. And we want to make sure the first thing we do is we put some embossing, or I guess this is anti-static, so that the embossing powder doesn't stick to the cardstock when we go to do this. So what we're going to do is just take some clear ink here, and we're just going to get this stamped out as we normally do. We'll see how this comes out. See if we need to stamp it again. Looks pretty good, but let's just stamp it one more time. Alrighty, that looks good. So now we're going to take our white heat embossing powder onto our official, unofficial embossing powder catcher here. And we are just going to put some embossing powder just kind of all over it to make sure it's nice and covered. All right, that looks great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to heat emboss this to get the embossing powder melted, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, so now that we have that done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 3 smallest of these hexagons, and I'm just going to cut out various pieces of this panel here. And I'm going to cut these out several times just to see what parts we can use and all that great stuff. So let me go ahead and get that cut out, and I'll bring you back to see what that looks like. Okay, so we have all the hexagons cut out. We're just going to push those to the side, and now we are going to put our bucket together. And basically this is super easy. All we're going to do is take the pieces and just glue them down. So it's like a puzzle piece. So we're just going to take the first here and get this glued together. And it's really easy. It just comes together like a puzzle. Like everything is already outlined for you, so it's pretty easy to get everything all lined up. Okay, and then here, actually, we're getting the tweezers out. It's getting a little crazy now. These are too small. All right, so now we have each one of these goes here onto this part of the bucket. The handle. There we go. Then this one goes like that. All right, there we go. And there we have the bucket put together. And then we also have just a sample of like the leaves here. We can actually probably go ahead and put these together. Let's see if I want to, is this how I want to do these, guys? Kind of like that. Yeah, I think I like that. So we're just going to kind of glue these guys together just by the back here and there. Just two areas. And then what we'll do is we'll put some glue on the stems and that'll glue it into the bucket. And I love this because it's genius, because the bucket was cut open so that we could slide these in here like that. So there we go. We have one of the buckets together. I'm going to get the other one all together and figure out which herb I'm going to use, and then I'll come back and we'll. And so we are just going to do some stamping on white cardstock with black ink today. I know that's very rare. It's very rare that you see me stamp on white paper with black ink, because sometimes I feel that's boring, but today that's what we're going to do. All right, so we are going to use the sentiments. Let's do Happy Spring. Let's see here. Let's do It's Your Time to Bloom. And then let's just do Hello. And we have dies for these so that we can, doesn't really matter where we place them onto the MISTI, because we have dies and we can get those cut out. And because these are super thin lines, we just don't want to press too hard. We just want to press enough just to get it down. And then if that means we have to do it a couple times, that's also fine as well. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to get the matching dies and cut these out, and then we'll come back and we'll start putting the card together. Okay, so we have the cards here. We are going to go ahead and start putting these together. I'm just going to put this one to the side, and we'll do this one first. Let's go ahead and take this off first. I want to place these down onto this cardstock here. The thing is I want to make sure that these are straight, and I'm not sure the best way to do that here. We're just going to eyeball it, but okay, so we have those down. They seem a little crooked. It's fine. It's going to be fine. All right, and now we are going to get this glued down. All right, there we go. And then we'll glue this down to the card base. All right, we'll get this glued down. There we go. All right, so now we have the basil here. I want to glue this down to this leaf here, just so it doesn't get lifted up. And I think what I might do is add some foam tape on the back of this. All right. So we'll put some on the back of the bucket, and then we'll just put a few pieces behind the leaves. All right. So let's go ahead and get the backing on this. We'll set him around about right here. And then we'll use this hello as the sentiment. Not for sure how well this goes with basil, but it's fine. Maybe like right here. I think that's good. So let's get that down. Okay, so here we have the finished cards. We have the one that has the thyme on it. Really love this. It's kind of, I don't know, modern, I guess you would say. Kind of like a, it's just really neat. I like it. It's kind of different. Something that I normally would not do, but I think comes across very well. You know, there was a bunch of experimentation here in these cards, and it took me a long time to actually make these, you guys. This video is probably 45 minutes long, so I'm going to have to really cut this down. But anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed the card. I really appreciate it. Make sure you check out the links all down in the description for everything that I used. Also, make sure that you like this video if you liked it, and if you didn't like it, you can like it anyway. Subscribe to the channel and share the love. If you know someone that may like this video, go ahead and send it out. So until next week, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.